Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. In this one I'm going to be covering cadences, which are pretty useful tools, so stay tuned because they're pretty helpful. If you want to follow along with the chart I'll be using, go to my website, aidenoconnormedia.com, go to music theory, and go to more about chords, cadences, and secondary dominants. Scroll to the bottom, and here's the chart we're going to be using. So, what is a cadence? A cadence is, right here I told you a cadence is basically the end of a chord progression. It's something you throw in to make a chord progression sound wrapped up, which you can then either end the whole song with, or you can lead into a new phrase or new part of the song. So here is the most common cadence in the world. It's not really going to sound like anything special to you because as Western music listeners, you're just so used to hearing it, you probably don't think it's anything special. But there's a name for it, and it's a cadence. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, what I just ended with was a perfect, authentic cadence. That was those last two chords. It was a G7 to a C. That was the 5-to-1 cadence, abbreviated by PAC, and that is the most common cadence you'll ever hear. You've probably heard that sound before. You have a chord progression, and just throwing that in at the end of a song is pretty common. So it says 5-to-1, but commonly 5-7-to-1 for increased sense of resolution. That's my take on it, because instead of just going 5-to-1, it sounds nice and resolved after that. But going 5-7-to-1, well, it's gonna add a little bit more tension. It builds it up a little bit more. It makes it sound more resolved. So that's your perfect authentic cadence. It can be 5-to-1, or you can do 5-7-to-1. Either one is fine. 5-7-to-1 is more tense, I guess, which makes it seem more resolved once you actually do it. So your other type of authentic cadence, you have three. They're all imperfect, but there's three different kinds. So you have your root position imperfect authentic cadence, your inverted IAC, and your leading tone IAC. Okay, so these two right here, the root position inverted IACs aren't really anything super special. There's really not, I don't see a huge point in them. It's basically just your PAC up here, but less strong. All you're doing here is inverting the chords. If you invert the one chord, then you're doing a root position imperfect authentic cadence. If you invert the 5, then you're doing an inverted imperfect authentic cadence. Nothing really crazy. It's just a PAC, but less strong. But this one, your leading tone imperfect authentic cadence, is a little bit different. It's pretty cool. It's your 7-to-1. It's your 7-to-1 cadence. So it sounds like this. Okay, it's a little bit more dissonant, I guess, because you're using a diminished chord instead of a 5. But that's your leading tone IAC. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the plagal cadence because it fits up here more than the half cadence does. Your plagal cadence is a 4-to-1. So these four all up here involved 5-to-1, and this one was 7-to-1. This one right here is 4-to-1, and this is often called the Amen cadence because it's what you hear in church after that hymn where everyone sings Amen, and it sounds like, how do they do it? Oh, sorry, my bad. They go. If you go to church, any traditional kind of church service, then you've probably heard that. That's my first or second, I don't know, it's kind of a tie. That's one of my favorite cadences. It's pretty. It sounds nice to throw that in at the end of a chord progression. If you wanted me to think of something real quick, it would sound like this. Okay, that was your plagal cadence. Okay, not much to explain. It's very bright and very happy, abbreviated by PC. Now we have I'm going to go to the Aeolian cadence next. The Aeolian cadence is not as commonly heard of, but it's very commonly, you'll hear it a lot in music, but people don't often know what it's called. Like, pretty much everyone will know what a perfect authentic cadence is, or a plagal, Not everyone's going to know what the Aeolian is, but it's very common in pop music. And that's the flat 6 to flat 7, and then it's usually going to go to the 1 after that, because it's going to build up so much tension right there, you kind of have to end on the 1. So if I were in the key of C, that would be A flat to B flat to C. So if you'd like to hear what that sounds like, it would be, excuse me, it would be, okay, I mean, that one sounds pretty cool. That might be my favorite. Yeah, that's probably my favorite. It's pretty cool sounding. So that's the Aeolian cadence. That one ends on the 1. One more time, if you want to hear it a little bit higher, it's going to sound like this. Okay, there's your Aeolian. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, now these two cadences that I skipped, your half cadence and your deceptive cadence, are a little bit different, because you don't usually, all these other ones appear that I've talked about, the PAC, the IAC, the AC, and the PC. You can use those to end a song too. I mean, you can end your chord progression with that, but you can also end an entire song with that, because it just makes the whole piece sound resolved. Half cadences and deceptive cadences, you can use them to end the phrase or a chord progression, but you don't usually want to end the entire song with that, because they're not too resolved. They don't make you feel like the song is actually complete. You're usually going to use them to introduce a new phrase or idea in the piece. So I'll start with the half cadence. Anything to 5, but usually 2 to 5 or 4 to 5. And I say that because every time I've ever seen a half cadence, it's 9 times out of 10 been 2 to 5 or 4 to 5. So if you wanted to hear what that sounded like, I'll just try and make something up real quick. I'll just use that same chord progression I've been using, which is extremely poppy, so don't make fun of me. I'm just doing what comes to mind. You can see how from here it'd be pretty easy to lead into something new. Okay, from there I ended on a plagal cadence. But you can see how the half cadence, I did the 2 to 5, it leads into a new phrase. So yeah, that's your you don't really want to end a complete song on there. You can end a phrase on there, but like I said over here, it doesn't have a strong sense of resolution. But it does have a strong sense of I need to get a resolution soon. So it's good to lead into something with. Now your deceptive cadence is very similar, because you use it to lead into a new phrase as well. And this one, it's called a deceptive cadence because when you hear that 5, you're expecting it to go to the 1 after that. If you hear this, you're expecting, so when all of a sudden you get this instead, you know, it's a little bit surprising, I guess, to listeners. You're not expecting it to go to the 6th chord, so that's why it's called the deceptive cadence. It's deceiving you into thinking it's a perfect, authentic cadence, but instead it's going to a 6. A lot of times you'll see 5, 7 to 6, which really can kind of bug listeners, because, you know, when you hear, and then you go to this, it's just a little bit surprising, because if you hear that at the end of a piece, you're expecting the happy resolution. So if it all of a sudden goes to that, it's a bit shocking, I guess. Anyway, those are your cadences. Just to wrap it up, remember, cadence is something you usually put at the end of a chord progression, sequence, song, etc. Your PAC, IAC, PC, and AC you can use to end an entire song. Your DC and HC you don't usually want to do that with, unless you just want to bug listeners. I mean, really, there's nothing that would bug me more than hearing someone end a song like, and then just ending it. That would really bug me. I don't know. Maybe if that's what you're into, go ahead and do that. But yeah, don't be that guy. That's not people aren't gonna like that. So those are cadences. If you want to see my other video, that was on actually building the chord progression in the first place and then implementing cadences. Click this little link down here. Again, it would help me out if you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, which you can get to from here. If you go to like my Facebook page, facebook.com/Aidan O'Connor Media, and check out my other tutorials, because all my music theory tutorials are stuff that directly relate to actually writing and making music. It's not just boring, random stuff. So Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think and any ideas you have for other tutorials I should do. Thanks.